Hey everybody, welcome back to the Fearless Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Lynne, and today I have my new friend, Michael Bridge, on the podcast. Welcome, Michael. Thanks for being here.
Delighted to be here. Across the ocean.
Yes, absolutely, but a fellow Canadian, so I'm very thrilled to, I've heard about you for a few years now, but I'm happy to be connected now at this point, and to have you on today to talk about you and your work, and that you are going to be our guest teacher at our upcoming workshop, Next Level Negotiation, which is on March 4th, but we'll get to that later. For now, would you mind introducing yourself for everyone listening today?
Sure. Well, I'm an accordionist. I'll start with that. That's probably an unusual opening line on this podcast. I'm a classical accordionist.
I have had another one.
Oh, you have?
I've had one other one. Yeah, Gennady. Yeah.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
in Vienna.
Yeah.
Sorry, Austria. Yeah.
I know him too.
Oh, okay. I'm sure.
It's a fairly small world.
Small world. Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, right now I'm in the accordion room at the University of Toronto, which is where
There's
I did
an accordion room.
There is.
Wow.
Things you didn't know.
Okay.
And I did my undergrad, master's, and DMA here at U of T because at the time it was the one of one choice in North America, actually.
No way. Really?
Where you could study accordion classically. Now there are two more programs that have popped up in Canada, still none in the USA. And of course, there's tons in most European capitals. But a classical accordion has been growing and is continuing to grow in North America, and more arts organizations are kind of finding out about it, that it's amazing as a folk instrument, but it can do so much more.
Wow. That's amazing. Why do you think Toronto was the only school that had accordion?
That's 100% due to my professor, Joseph Macciarolo, who started this program in 1972. So it just passed 50 years. Cool. He got this going, and he was our pioneer of classical accordion in many ways in Canada, commissioning, getting people to think in that way. So I owe him a great debt of gratitude for, paving the way, or at least clearing a path through the woods. I don't think we have a paved highway towards a career yet.
I think we call it bushwhacking,
yes,
as to use a Canadian term.
Yes. Which is to maybe tied in with where we might be going. That's partly why I have always had to figure things out from a business perspective, because yes, he opened some doors, but there is not a standard career path as a classical accordionist. It's not,
or a musician for that matter. Yeah,
absolutely. But I was even weirder. So hence, I think from a young age, I was thinking about this stuff. I know you spend a great deal of time, as do probably all your listeners.
Yeah. So I just learned that you teach business at U of T for musicians.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
It's a course basically on freelancing. It is equal parts Canadian market and US market, which is where I spend roughly equal parts of my time and my income. And so it's talking about how to make money from playing. There are other courses that touch on, create your bio, your resume, how to run a teaching studio, but mine is exclusively how to make money performing. So we talk about setting your fees accurately, figuring out how to do that, negotiating showcases, U.S. work visas, incorporation, financial planning, retirement planning. Do it in your 20s. Why not? Or set aside a week one summer. That's really what it takes, I think, to start thinking about retirement planning anyways. Getting beside myself.
Wow, no,
here.
I love this. I love this. This is great. No, I taught entrepreneurship, and we did the bio, the resume, the marketing, the website, the social media content. So I love to hear about other things that are important. Making money from playing. Yes, amen. I think every person who's come to the Fearless Artist has said, I want more concerts. I want a higher income.
Absolutely.
Actually, some of them aren't actually brave enough to say that. What they say is, I just want to grow my career. But very rarely do I have musicians say I need to earn more money. Right.
Yes.
So it's helping musicians also articulate, it's okay to want to earn a decent living as an artist. I know you feel the same way.
Absolutely.
So our motto is we're thriving, not starving. I think one of my purposes in life is to eliminate the starving artist mentality. So yeah, please share more about what you're teaching in your business class. And also I know you have a separate course about finances that you were opening up. So yeah, I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, it really bothers me when somebody asks me, and it happens maybe every a second or third concert. So are you able to like make enough from this to, like they never actually ask, do you make 100K or not? Like I would prefer that somebody, like basically comes out and says it. How much do you make? And without being rude about it or too abrupt, I think it's actually super, super important. I'm sure you're on the same page to talk about that a lot. And my very first lectures with students are always centered on valuing your work through money, but also through evaluating how much time something takes. So we do from the very beginning in pretty much any course, whether it's like 3 lectures or a whole semester, the first thing is always the same. It's an Excel document that I made a few years ago when I got extremely mad because somebody was offering me what I knew to be too little for a project. I just knew. But how do you prove that? Or how do you really come back? So I, item by item, wrote down like, okay, how many hours will I spend emailing, texting, phoning, bookkeeping? Okay, how much time planning the travel? How much time practicing? How much time finding meals while on the road? Do I need a fund for instrument maintenance, for a new iPad and iPad clip and, the pedals, they break all the time. Like everything adds up. So to really itemize it, I came up with this chart that's maybe 40 lines long, and you put in how many hours you think you will spend on each part of actually delivering a concert, and then you set a rate for that activity. You can set the rate to be minimum wage if you want, but I would hazard a guess that everyone would agree that practicing is a more taxing physical and mental activity than, for example, doing some admin or traveling to the concert. So I think you can set your rate differently, and it spits out a total rate that you can use as a guideline. But the real shocker of this is always how many hours a concert actually takes. So I can give you one example as a spoiler alert.
I don't want to know. Just kidding.
Well, we should add it up. We should do, for example, one of your candlelight concerts.
Oh
or
boy,
something else.
I was just thinking, yeah, sure, but please, I interrupted.
No, it's okay. So I like to use the example of like going, 3 hours down the road to wherever, Sarnia, Canada, let's say, play for Sarnia concert series. Okay, you think I'll drive on the day, I'll do the show, stay overnight because it's 3 hours, I'll drive back the next morning, some practice, some admin. How many hours does that sound like? I don't know, like 3 hours each way, some setup. Maybe it's like 12 or 15 hours or 20 at most. 40.
Are you asking?
42 is the number 42? That I usually get to. I've tried different ways to jiggle the chart around. It is a full work week.
That's crazy.
Full-time work, 40 hours a week. So people wonder, like, where did all my time go? Why is the work never done, and why am I always tired, and why isn't there enough money in the account? Well, when you really add up the hours that it takes to do something right, including some social media promotion, good correspondence, actually practicing, because we have to be good. You can't just wing it, show up. Yeah. Like, you actually have to be good. So, and that's not 20 hours of practice. I'm factoring like maybe 6 hours of practice into that kind of a calculation.
Oh boy.
So long story short, the time adds up fast, which is why it is so crucial to understand your worth, not because we're sharks and we're greedy, but just all I'm trying to do is be accurate in terms of developing a pricing method. And then it's up to us. That's the beginning of my courses. And then the rest is always, okay, well, I'm saying you should earn this, or your own chart says you should earn this. You're probably earning a third to half of that based on the hours. So how do we start to close that gap? And then that comes down to being unique, production value, quality of materials, quality of your business skills. And that can start to address that gap.
Okay, this is fascinating. And I think we all need this. I mean, I don't want to think about this for myself because just 2 weeks ago, I was somewhere in France and it took like the entire day to get home the next day. And then I was exhausted. I don't know if there's an item on your spreadsheet of just like being wasted from the traveling. Like I was unproductive the day after that because I was so wiped out for some reason. And normally it doesn't hit me that hard, but that day I was like, man, this one concert cost me like 3 days without counting practice time. And I don't even think about like the social stuff because I usually do that when I'm traveling back on the train. So try to combine things. You know, I think that's the thing of the multitasking musician. We're always trying to squeeze the most production out of every drop of time until you crash and then you just doom scroll. Or maybe that's just me.
No, that's
can
me
you
too.
talk? Yeah, can you talk more about closing the gap? Like this is so interesting.
There are many strategies. The first thing that has to be said, it's a given, is that you have to be great at what you do and what you do on stage. Not only playing, but also stage presence, ideally speaking. I mean, I think classical music has shifted towards more artist presence on stage. I mean, interaction with the audience, not just walk out, bow, play, leave, because it's far less personable. So, but anyways, you have to be really great. You don't have to. Everything else is optional, but possible. Working with multimedia, most of my groups do some projections as an option in some of our shows.
Cool.
We do amplification when appropriate to create a specific vibe and a sound. We've toyed with all sorts of things. These are more complicated things, but like lobby installations. We've gone big on producing sizzle reels and trailers that are the tools that you put into a presenter's hands so that they look at it and they're like, not just do they like the show, they look at the trailer and they think, oh, if I put this trailer in front of my audience, they'll come. Then also meeting the right people through showcase networks, booking conferences, and trying to make connections in person. I'm less familiar with the setup in Europe of how this works. I'm going to be at Classical Next conference for the first time this year. Are you going to be there?
What?
Are we going to meet?
There.
Okay, we're finally going to meet.
Oh, that's so fun.
After 10 years, my quartet finally got in.
Oh, congrats.
So we'll be there. Amazing.
Oh, well, that's a fun surprise.
Canadian reunion.
Yes. Well, union. I've never
right.
Can Yolanda, is Yolanda coming? Your beautiful wife?
No.
Okay.
No, she'll be at home for
next
that.
Time.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, that's exciting news. Okay, please. Classical Next. You're talking about the show. What?
Well, showcases and meeting the right people through that. And I was having a conversation with somebody. Oh, it was one of my students because we just did the booking chart, and somebody like determined basically that playing at a certain club here in Toronto, like the most that they could possibly make with their band should be like 3,000 for a particular concert. And they're like, yeah, the ticket sales and the capacity means that this will never make more than 1,200. No way. Okay. Like impossible. I said, okay, well, best you can do is try to add a second performance on the same day.
Right.
But short of that, you might not be playing in a financially sustainable venue.
Right.
It's just important to know that. And it's okay.
Yeah.
You can have a passion project. It's okay. And there are certainly some things that I do that are less lucrative, and I know that. But I want to do them, and they help me as an artist. And they make beautiful videos, and that contributes, even in the business sense, in some kind of holistic way. But you do have to eventually get to something that will pay the bills and identify what it is. And so valuing your time through a tracking method, or at least an estimate method, is the best way I can think of to identify the winners.
So I know you're going to be teaching a lot about this in the next level negotiation workshop, but maybe you can give us an idea of, if you have a fee and the presenter's just like, yeah, that's out of budget. Here's the biggest thing I hear. Okay. Yeah, I can't say what I want to charge because they'll just replace me with the next guy who will play it. So I know you've already touched on unique sales proposition, and that's great. But there is, even me as a pianist, some of the programs I'm playing, they can bring in someone else to play it. So there's always that risk of like, yeah, I can push, but at what lost, could I potentially not have the relationships? Anyway, there's a lot of factors.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
This is where I feel I had an advantage from an early age as an accordionist, because there was no market. But if I could drum up the market, then I could have it. So
Right.
as I put it, I always felt that I've been in my own lane somewhat. There are other spectacular classical and digital accordionists who do many things, but we're not overly saturated yet. But it's getting there. Anyways, to your question, that's the background of my thinking. So I approach everything about how unique can you be. So I mean, yes, other people play piano, but I'm sure that there are many things that are only Michelle Lynne. And the easiest one to look at would be your personality, your stage presence, your talking, because nobody else is going to do that exactly like you. Mind you, no one else will play exactly like you, but that's a little harder to sell, unless we're talking about two artists who are just vastly different in terms of how obvious their artistry differs. That's number one. But then on trying to quantify or to push for more value, I like to believe that we can get maybe 10% further just by explaining the amount of time or the value that is being provided. You probably can't get further than that and this would be a strategy of lifting up the entire industry without pushing so hard as to get replaced by someone who's undercutting. But I like to think of growing the pie overall.
Yeah.
And if you have that mindset, people can tell. Like, are you pushing because you're greedy, or are you pushing because it's fair and because all musicians should be paid that way? And occasionally saying no to something and being honest about the fact that it is about the money in a very gentle way, it doesn't have to be mean, is a very important exercise, number one. And two, it's good for the community, I think.
Okay, give us some examples, scripts, strategies. How do you say to someone, your budget's too low? No way, dude. Like, no thanks.
You could say that.
Sayonara, I'm out of here.
Well, I would always pair it with the time. The amount of time that it would take me to do this and to do it well simply
42 hours.
It's not feasible for me to take on this project at this time. And I always tend to give context. I believe in any negotiation and share a little bit of being an oversharer. Just say that one more thing. Because, okay, I just mentioned classical next, and now we know that we're going to meet there. Had I not, like things like that. So right. I might say, yeah, I have a baby at home. Not that I'm trying to use my baby as a negotiating tactic. Still wrapping my head around this, to be honest.
Congrats, by the way.
She's 3 months old. Thank you very much. But I will say that has changed my outlook immediately, because I always have something else to do now. Hold my baby. So I'm not trying to say that to somebody, you got to pay this much or I'll go hold my baby. But I think people do partly make that connection themselves sometimes. For those artists who do not have a baby,